All right, your Disney World vacation is 180 days away and you're ready to book those advanced dining reservations. You've picked out all your top choices and you think you've chosen the absolute best restaurants for your trip. Or did you? Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. It's important to look through the menu, but there's a lot more that goes into picking the perfect restaurant. There's a lot of tips and tricks we've picked up over the years by eating at literally every single Disney World restaurant, and we're passing those tips on to you, including some of the things you're not thinking about. We've got some really great tips coming up that will get you thinking about what the right restaurants are for your family, but it's far from an exhaustive resource. If you're looking to dive deep and get into the nitty-gritty of planning, like the details on the atmosphere, favorite dishes, best tables at every single restaurant at Disney World, pick up a copy of our DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining. This guide is a culmination of years of research, planning our own Disney vacations, and the latest updates and honest reviews, budgeting tips you can count on to help you plan your vacation. You can pick up a copy of the guide at dfbstore.com. Don't forget to use code YouTube to get a discount on your purchase, and a huge thank you for helping to support our channel and everything we do. All right, let's dive in. Number one, not all food is created equal. There's certainly no shortage of pizza and hamburgers in Disney World, and we're not ashamed to admit that despite all the unique food available throughout the parks and resorts, every once in a while, we really just want the basics. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but if you're looking for something more common, you'll want to make sure it's the best on property. If you're looking for pizza, skip the standard Disney pizzas you'll find at quick service locations like Pizza Rizzo or Pizza Fari. Don't let the fact that pizza's in the name fool you. These are not our favorites. We recommend heading to Via Napoli and Epcot. This is pretty much the best pizza in Disney World. The flour is imported from Italy and they're baked in 3 giant wood fire ovens. This stuff is the real deal. Plus, it's a great deal. A large pepperoni pizza is going to run you $34 and you can easily split it between 2 or more people. So for Disney prices, that is not bad. And if the Pizza El Taglio window happens to be open, you can grab a pizza by the slice. This is a seasonally operating window right outside Via Napoli. So it isn't available all the time, but it's great for a quick lunch if you do luck out. Note this isn't the same pizza you'll get inside Via Napoli for some reason, which we've never been able to understand. But pizza here is the thick square slices. It's fresh, it has great crust, and it's a decent portion, so definitely worth trying. If you're looking for pizza in Disney Springs, check out Blaze Pizza. This is a national chain, so you may have one in your hometown, but it's got a serious fan base. All their pizza is made to order, so you get exactly what you want. It's kind of like a Subway for pizza, like Subway sandwiches, you kind of build your pizza as you go along. And they even have keto, gluten-free, and vegan crust options. Now, if you're just looking for a slice, head to Pizza Ponte for some seriously large and super fresh slices. Now, for burgers, Disney Springs is also going to be your best bet for a delicious meal that's fresh and made to order. Deluxe Burger is one of our top picks. It's the only counter service location where you can pick your burger temperature. There's also a great bison cheeseburger at the Geyser Point Bar and Grill over at Wilderness Lodge. Comes with bacon, onion, straws, and a Marion berry sauce, which sounds a little weird, but it's so good. And that's also a great location if you want to get away from the Magic Kingdom to relax for a minute without heading all the way back to your hotel. Take a boat over to Wilderness Lodge, grab a seat at this bar. There's no reservations, so it's much easier to walk up last minute and get a table. Another great burger in Disney World is over at the Boathouse. They've got that Gibson Sandwich King burger. It is killer and probably my favorite burger in all of Walt Disney World. Next, we're going to dive into how to pick a character meal. So if meeting Disney characters is at the top of your Disney to-do list, you want to consider fitting in at least one character meal. So character meals are where you can meet multiple characters all at once. Plus, you get some guaranteed air conditioning. The characters will come around the restaurant to take photos and sign autographs, and they'll typically spend a few minutes at each table. Probably at the forefront of everybody's mind when it comes to character meals is which characters you'll meet, but you'll also want to think about what kind of atmosphere you want, what type of food your family wants to eat, as well as the price. You'll get to meet some unique characters you won't find anywhere else at Disney World, or some characters will show up dressed in outfits that are themed to the restaurant. For example, if your kiddos are big Lilo and Stitch fans, Breakfast at Ohana is the only place right now where you can meet Lilo. Storybook Dining at Artist Point is the only place where you'll get to meet the dwarfs and the Evil Queen outside of a special event. And Mickey has some adorable costume changes. If you meet him at Garden Grill, he'll be dressed like a farmer. At Topolino's Terrace, he's Minnie's dressed as a painter, and at Chef Mickey's, you guessed it, a chef. If a more relaxed dining experience is what you're looking for with a character meal, consider those smaller restaurants like Garden Grill in Epcot, or a restaurant that serves the meal family style or a prix fixe meal rather than a buffet. Family style meals are all-you-can-eat meals that are brought out to your table, so you don't need to juggle the kids and bags as you fill up everyone's plate at a buffet. It also means that everyone else in the restaurant will be sitting for the most part, so overall it's a more relaxed environment. Family style meals can be found at Garden Grill and Ohana. And remember that Ohana is only a character meal for breakfast. A few character meals offer prix fixe options as well. You'll typically get a few shareable things for the table, and everyone orders their own entree. Storybook Dining at Artist Point at Wilderness Lodge is a prix fixe dinner. Trattoria El Forno at the Boardwalk has a set menu for breakfast with Ariel, Prince Eric, Rapunzel, and Flynn Rider. By the way, one of the only places you can meet some princes. Topolino's Terrace at Riviera Resort also has a prix fixe character breakfast. We're typically in favor of family style or prix fixe over buffets in terms of food quality, though buffets offer some items worth the trip. Tusker House has your standard Disney breakfast foods over there in Animal Kingdom, like Mickey waffles, scrambled eggs, etc., but also has some more interesting African-inspired options like Babooty, since it's in the Africa section of Animal Kingdom, plus Mickey in his safari gear. Overall, buffets give you a lot more options, which can be great if you've got some indecisive or picky eaters. And remember, if you have a child who is under 3 years old, they eat free at a buffet. Now, character meals can be rather pricey, and they all offer something a bit different, so you'll want to do your research on which one is right for you. They're definitely not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal, and that's for sure. For instance, you can meet Mickey at Tusker House, Garden Grill, and Chef Mickey's, and of course several others, but we're not going to include everywhere that you can meet Mickey in our example here. But breakfast at Chef Mickey's will cost you $50 per adult and $33 per kid, while Tusker House and Garden Grill are going to be $42 per adult and $27 per kid. Chef Mickey's is also nearly always crowded, plus it's a larger restaurant and Mickey needs to make it around to every table, so you might not end up with as much time with him as you'd like. Whereas Garden Grill is a whole lot smaller, and we've had Mickey come around to our table multiple times at that restaurant, making it a way bigger bang for your character meal buck. So let's break it all down with those princess meals as an example. You might think Cinderella's Royal Table is the ultimate be-all end-all princess experience. It's inside Cinderella Castle, you get to meet a ton of princesses. It's certainly a one-of-a-kind and a Disney bucket list meal, but it's expensive. Their prix fixe lunch or dinner is $75 per adult and $45 per child. The food and atmosphere might be a little more extravagant than your family likes, but it's still an amazing experience. Also consider Akershus in Epcot's Norway. It's a little less expensive than Cindy's, and it's slightly more laid back since it's a hybrid served buffet meal. There's also a salad and cold bar to start off the meal, then entrees and dessert are brought to the table. You'll find some more adventurous Scandinavian-style eats on the menu, so picky eaters may have a hard time. You'll also get to meet several of the same princesses you might meet at Cindy's, though Belle usually hosts the pre-meal photo at Akershus instead of Cinderella. Now, Trattoria El Forno on the Boardwalk is the least expensive princess option, plus you don't need a park ticket to eat there. The menu features more classic dishes and adorable presentations, and it's a set prix fixe, so no up and down. You'll only get to meet Ariel and Rapunzel here, though they are joined by their princes. If you're into this one, know that you only have the option of breakfast, whereas the other restaurants on this list offer all 3 meals. If you are a big Cinderella fan, you might want to consider dinner at 1900 Park Fair, where you can meet Cinderella, Prince Charming, along with Cindy's step family, but no other princesses. This one's on par with Akershus price-wise, both around $60 per adult and $40 per child at dinner. But it is an all-you-can-eat buffet, while Akershus is just an all-you-can-eat for that salad bar, though we have had them bring out extra dessert before. All 4 options let you meet princesses, but they're all pretty different experiences, and while Aunt Susan may have loved Akershus when she went to Disney 3 years ago, that doesn't mean your family will. So definitely do your research, read the reviews, make sure you know what the best restaurants are for you. And of course, in our DFB guide, which I mentioned before, we've got mini reviews of every single restaurant on property. All right, next thing you want to make sure you're doing, choosing the right meal. Regardless of where you eat, you want to make sure you choose the right meal. Usually at Disney World, breakfast is the least expensive option. Some places like Trattoria El Forno, Topolino's Terrace, or Ohana only offer a character meal at breakfast, but at places like Tusker House, Crystal Palace, or Chef Mickey's, where you have the option of multiple meal times, it's going to be cheaper to meet those characters when they come with a side of waffles. And like I said, this goes for nearly all restaurants, buffets especially. The first meal of the day is going to be a lot less expensive than dinner time. Boma, for example, is $49 per adult, $27 per kid at dinner, while it's $29 per adult and $16 per kid at breakfast. Tusker House dinner is $55 per adult, $36 per kid, and breakfast is $42 per adult, $27 per kid. Chef Mickey's is $60 per adult, $39 per kid at dinner, or $50 per adult, $33 per kid at breakfast. Crunch the numbers, you might be able to squeeze in another table service meal on your trip if you opt for breakfast reservations over dinner. Next thing to consider about those restaurants is the atmosphere. We touched on this a bit with those princess meals. Disney's got restaurants that fit nearly every category, from laid back or downright kitschy to super fine dining and everything in between. Some restaurants are more catered to families with young kiddos than others, and while Disney goes above and beyond to make sure every guest's experience is as magical as possible, if you're looking for a more romantic meal, your top pick might not be somewhere like T-Rex, where you're surrounded by huge animatronic dinosaurs. But hey, who knows? Maybe that's your thing. Restaurants like Coral Reef or Sci-Fi Dine-In are all about the atmosphere. At Coral Reef, you're basically dining underwater with a huge aquarium taking up a whole wall of the restaurant. And at Sci-Fi, you're dining in a sweet convertible car while you watch old movie clips like you're at a drive-in theater. Both are totally different experiences from some fine dining restaurants on property, but totally unique, and they can be a great time if this is what you're looking for. Likewise, some restaurants aren't as kid-friendly or focused on atmosphere as others. This is especially true of some of those signature 2-credit restaurants that might be perfect for date night, but a nightmare for your young kid who just wants to run around after eating a few chicken nuggets. Morimoto Asia is a great date night spot in Disney Springs, but the restaurant is upscale and almost resembles a nightclub, so if you've got kids who need to run around, this is not where you want to be. Plus, the menu is modern Asian fusion, no chicky nugs here. Some of these restaurants even have dress codes, whether that means no bathing suits or shorts, or on the very rare occasion a suit jacket being required, like at Victoria and Albert's. It's worth checking if the restaurant you've made a reservation for requests business casual attire and whether or not that's something that fits into your plans. After a day at the pool, you might not feel like dressing up, and we're totally on board with that. Places like Sebastian's Bistro at Caribbean Beach Resort or Olivia's at Old Key West are table service restaurants with a little more laid-back vibe. Plus, they're great if you've been relaxing at the resort all day. Next thing to think about when you're choosing those restaurants, consider what's nearby. Have you considered all the options in your quote-unquote area? Think about what resorts are near the park you're in that day. You could be missing out on some great dining if you're only considering the restaurants that are actually in the parks. While there are plenty of dining options at Magic Kingdom, if you're there on a busy day, it can be more difficult to find a quiet place to eat. Are you looking for lower crowds while you dine, or perhaps you want to have as many menu options as possible, including some more budget-friendly table service restaurants? Head to one of the monorail resorts. They're often less crowded, especially around lunchtime, and it gives you even more options to choose from. The Wave at the Contemporary Resort, Kona Cafe at the Polynesian, and Grand Floridian Cafe at the Grand Floridian are all great choices that are often less crowded, meaning you can snag something last minute. You might find that leaving the Magic Kingdom for a few hours when the heat and crowd levels peak is even more restful than going back to your resort, especially because you can easily hop back to the parks once you're rested and, more importantly, fed. Likewise, if you're in Epcot, Boardwalk Inn, Yacht Club, Beach Club, Swan and Dolphin are just steps away from World Showcase, and with the Skyliner station right there, you can hop over to Riviera Resort or Caribbean Beach Resort super quickly and easily from either Epcot or Hollywood Studios. Beaches and Cream is one of our favorites. Burgers, tots, delicious ice cream sundaes. It's right at the Beach Club just outside the International Gateway of Epcot. At Caribbean Beach Resort, you can either have a full table service meal at Sebastian's Bistro or check out one of our favorite pool bars, Banana Cabana, for a delicious jerk chicken sandwich. Just next door at Riviera Resort is one of our other favorite pool bars, Bar Riva, which has a Monte Cristo sandwich that rivals the one served at Disneyland. But if you're looking to head out of Animal Kingdom, you've got fewer options. The closest will be Animal Kingdom Lodge, though you can still only get there via bus, so there's no Skyliner, there's no walking, and there's no monorail or boat. And remember, if you do want to pop over to Animal Kingdom Lodge, there are 2 sections of the resort. So if you're looking for lunch, you'll want to go to Kidani Village, where you'll find Sanaa, since the sit-down restaurants at Jambo House, Boma, and Jiko are only open for breakfast or dinner. Now, of course, there is a quick service location at Jambo House if you want to choose that instead. When you're searching for reservations in My Disney Experience, you can filter out restaurants by location. This is great if you're looking for something last minute. You can narrow down to the park you're in and even add nearby resorts to the search. Or if you're planning a resort day, you can limit restaurants just to your hotel or other nearby hotels so you don't need to travel as far. Let's face it, you finally saved up enough to stay at your dream Disney hotel, or you splurged on a theme park view room or club level, you're going to want to hang around the hotel a little bit. If you're staying at the Grand, opt for dinner at Citricos or Narcoossee's so you don't have to leave the resort. Or add the Contemporary and dining at California Grill into the mix, since it's only a monorail ride away. Next thing to consider is how much food you want to eat. Now, as much as we believe that counting calories doesn't exist when we're in Disney World, you might want to consider how much food you and your party can actually consume. If you're big eaters, opt for all-you-can-eat restaurants like Whispering Canyon Cafe at Wilderness Lodge, where you can get unlimited refills on your skillet entrees. Or go for buffets where you can continue to load up your plate. Like eating lighter, consider maybe only doing 1 large meal a day. Save money by having your sit-down meal at breakfast, or use it to escape the parks at lunchtime, or go all out for dinner. Go for quick service restaurants when you're not having your big meal, and give yourself more time to get on rides rather than dedicating all that time to full table service meals. On a budget but have a restaurant you need to eat at, consider splitting entrees. This is typically fine at most restaurants. It is up to your server though, but oftentimes entrees will be split into 2 plates for you. If you've always wanted to dine at a more expensive restaurant that might be a little out of your budget, consider splitting some appetizers and an entree with your dining partner rather than both going for a large steak that you might not be able to finish. We'll typically just tip our server a little extra if we split meals or stop by a table service restaurant just for drinks and appetizers. And don't forget those lounges. Those can be a great opportunity where you don't have to get an advanced dining reservation, you don't have to worry about booking it 180 days in advance, and they usually have some really great appetizers at those lounges as well. Now, if you're on the Disney dining plan, you could potentially share 1 meal credit and stretch those credits out throughout your trip. Now, if you're on the Disney dining plan, there is the potential that you could share 1 meal credit and stretch those credits out throughout your trip, but this one's a little more iffy, and it's definitely up to restaurant policy and your server. It doesn't happen all that often. But if you show up at your dinner reservation and you're just not that hungry, it's worth asking. All right, next tip to make sure you are choosing the right Disney World restaurants is getting the most out of your dining credits. If you're on the Disney dining plan, you definitely want to make sure you're getting the most bang for your buck with those credits. If your goal is to save the most amount of money by using the Disney dining plan, some restaurants will offer better value for you than others. We've done a lot of number crunching in the DFB guide to determine which restaurants have greater value in terms of average cost, while also considering other factors like atmosphere, service, and the full experience when you dine. We've got lists of the top tier choices for table service and counter service restaurants if you're looking for the most value in a single meal. Top choices for quick service include Satuli Canteen and Animal Kingdom, where entree bowls can run $16. For table service, try Tepanetto to get the most bang for your buck, and always opt for more expensive dishes on the menu like steak rather than lower priced veg or chicken dishes. Another thing to keep in mind if you're on the dining plan is looking at which signature restaurants you can dine at for only 1 credit as opposed to 2 for certain meals during the day. For example, Morimoto Asia is worth 2 credits at dinner, but if you go there for lunch, you'll actually only use 1 credit to order off what is largely the same menu. Be Our Guest over at Magic Kingdom does a huge switch up between breakfast and lunch versus dinner. A couple of years ago, dinner service switched over to a signature prix-fixe dining experience, but breakfast and lunch are still quick service. So if you want to save your dining credits, but you really want to get inside Be Our Guest, consider going there earlier in the day. Topolino's Terrace is another signature restaurant that's 2 credits at dinner, but only 1 credit for breakfast. Their character breakfast, by the way, is fantastic, and we totally recommend it if you're looking for a new character breakfast experience. We've reviewed it on the channel before, so check that out next. If you're going to Epcot or Hollywood Studios, Riviera Resort is right along that Skyliner route, so get breakfast at Topolino's, and then you can hop on the Skyliner over to the park. While you can see the fireworks if you book your meal later in the night at Topolino's, we think the view during the day is gorgeous as well. Alright, so plan for a little extra research if you have special diets. This is our last tip to choosing the right Disney World restaurants. If someone in your group has a food allergy, food intolerance, or any sort of specific dietary need, Disney's great about this stuff. They go above and beyond to make sure that every guest who dines at their restaurants has a spectacular time. But some restaurants are going to have more options for certain special diets. Table service restaurants at Disney World will have allergy-friendly menus, which makes it super easy to identify what you can and cannot eat. If you've got more specific questions or concerns, or if you're dining at a buffet, a chef will come out to help make sure you're getting a meal that suits your diet. In addition, all counter service locations and kiosks will have allergy notes, so if you have questions, just ask a cast member. And Disney has expanded their plant-based dining initiative, so every restaurant on property now has a plant-based option that's noted clearly with a little leaf logo. Even with all that helpful info, there are a few restaurants we'd recommend, particularly for those on special diets. Sanaa and Boma at Animal Kingdom Lodge, Tangerine Cafe in Epcot's Morocco, Skipper Canteen in Magic Kingdom. Those are all havens for both keto diets and veg-friendly diets. Lots of fresh veggies and very few carbs on the menu. So there are a few tips to making sure you're choosing the right Disney World restaurants, but if you want even more, don't forget to head over to dfbstore.com and take a look at our DFB guide. We have got so much information in there, so many recommendations and suggestions just like the ones in this video. Lots of information for you, as well as 4 super awesome planning worksheets that you can reuse over and over again. And remember, don't forget to use code YouTube to get a discount if you pick up one of our guides. Thank you in advance for your support of our channel. Thanks for listening, you guys, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.